bridging a lot of human experience in hospitality now with emerging technologies. We have an incredible panel together. I asked the panelists, right, come on stage. Obviously, Sissi Johnson, the president of the Fashion Film Festival in Berlin. Round of applause, if you may, Tabet, founder and managing director of JT+Partners, and Laurent Cartier, chief research and development officer at Amsa Hospitality. Gentlemen, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we jump right into it because obviously time is short, and I understand we right before lunch, so thanks so much for joining us. You obviously bring a very diverse and interesting background, each of you, in this conversation, which I'm very excited about. I think why we don't kick off with each of you sharing maybe one trend of maybe in culture, technology, next generation demand you're seeing that is shaping hospitality moving forward, and maybe add a bit of your scope of work, if you may. Maybe Sissi, or try to start with you.
Thank you for having me. So I am the president of the Berlin Fashion Film Festival, and what's been very interesting is to see how luxury fashion houses are branching out of fashion, so by way of bread and residences, but also media, like so many of them are now developing studios and opening studios in Hollywood, for example. So we're part of that new wave with them. And I would say that in terms of trend that I'm actually very interested in is collective digital consciousness. I'm always talking about avatars and how all of us have digital avatars, right? So Markus, obviously you have the Meta Foundation. I'm sorry, I'm throwing you all the bus on a little bit. But you're part of the Meta Foundation, but so many of us also know you within different capacities, right? So if I am a marketer or if I am an hotelier, how do I cater to different parts of your identity? Because it's now so fluid, so multifaceted. If you are an academic, in addition to being a hospitality executive, how do I design an experience for you that answers all of your needs as an individual?
Wow, interesting. Laurent.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm Laurent Cartier, the Chief Research and Development Officer at Amsa Hospitality. We're based in Riyadh, working on 3 different fronts at the time, opening hotels in secondary cities in Saudi Arabia, launching our own academy to train young Saudis to hospitality jobs, and creating our own Arabian hotel brands. For me, one of the trends that is really shaping our future is the rise of guest-centric travel, driven by both cultural and generational shift. I think that younger generation today, they expect more than traditional stay. They want unique, personalized, immersive experience. They are seeking to connection to local culture, sustainability practices, of course, and meaningful interactions.
Well, lots to discuss in this panel. I'm seeing already from avatar to AI. Joe, please.
Joe Tabet. I'm an architect and the founder of JT+Partners. Part of our specialties is hospitality, so we design hotels. And that's where we started feeling that there is kind of a shift and a struggle because we believe that we're designing projects at the moment that suits us. However, these projects, they're going to be used by the next generation. And the next generation, in my opinion, I don't want to insult anybody, but yet for them to understand what they want. So this is a struggle, I believe, and that's where, for us as architects, the gentlemen here as operator, they're going to put the law, and then we really need to apply it. I believe that moving forward, as another panel, I believe we have missing element here is kind of a psychologist to be on board. Because having a psychologist, it will help us to understand somebody that doesn't exist. And this is where all our challenges, and I'm talking from architecture and urban planning at the same time as the future and AI and all the development.
Joe, you as a thought leader in the industry, I know you're very outspoken to this topic, next generation, which I feel often when we have this conversation, not everyone is already thinking in that direction. Have you already started integrating these demands you were speaking about in some project? Is that already possible by now, or is there like a discrepancy between the developers, investor needs, what you mentioned on the operator side, and to your design practice, or where are you sitting right now?
Look, which part of the demand? There is the easy part that I believe everybody has been trying to implement, and they're implementing it based on the easy way of accessing the hotel without passing by the lobby, and then you go to your room, and then you need to reach a level where the new generation, they will lay down in bed and they don't want to move to switch off the light, you know, they want to just sit and do everything. These things, in my opinion, as from the engineering side and technology, they are happening. What we're finding difficult is what I discussed about, is that if you really want to push the bar, that's where the struggle is happening.
Right.
That's where we are struggling to have this, what you mentioned, to get the hospitality experience to become personalized to the end user. And this is where I believe we're just still in the beginning.
Sissi, I want to quickly bring you in that thought, because obviously speaking about next generation, and you are in this group probably the traveler. What's your expectation on hospitality? And I know you travel around the world and stay in a lot of spaces. And what are you seeing as movements in the next generation the hospitality should pick up moving forward?
Sure. So I would say one opportunity is definitely edu travel, like skill-based travel. I think that's definitely a great area of opportunity for hospitality professionals to tap into. Yes, I am going somewhere. I could be out and about and so on, but can you curate a group or a community of people that I can learn from? And not just in one specific area of expertise, but really like offering a menu of, you know, education-based activity and experience. And then the other one that I would also like to mention is heritage-based travel or ancestry-based travel. I think it's another great area of opportunity because we're seeing the rise of all of these, you know, DNA tests and so on. And I found out that I'm 20% this and I'm 30% that. And I think that there's definitely something to tap into if you are in the industry. How can you cater to this particular demographic? And an example of that, Ghana has been doing that very well for the past few years. They curated what they called a year of return. So every December, you have people from all over the African diaspora, from the Caribbean, the US, and so on, going to Ghana for the first time, right? So it's an opportunity for them to get acquainted to, you know, the culture and so on. And now it's so successful that it's an annual rendezvous, so to speak. And I think that there are just other countries, you know, that can be doing the same thing and replicating that.
And when you speak about collaboration, I know you collaborated with brands around the world in fashion, music, education. Any advice for hospitality? Are we doing a good job in collaborating across our industry? Are we looking into what's out there in order to create these new experiences in demand?
Yes, I think there are a lot of great collaborations. I think that one area where we can definitely keep pushing is music related collaboration. So think of your hotels, you know, playlists being curated by your guests, so on, or maybe some very specific DJs. You can organize some very cool collaborations with music festivals, you know, as well. So in our case with the Berlin Fashion Film Festival, there's also an opportunity for us to collaborate on content and make some of these fashion films and documentaries available to your audience. And while they may not be able to physically attend the festival, they still have an opportunity to engage with the content in their rooms.
So Laurent, you have a lot of things on your plate, right? You're the one executing it, from what we heard, avatars, shows speaking about the demands of the next generation, technology. How are you looking ahead, and I know you're developing right now a lot of projects, how are you thinking about balancing this need of the demands we're seeing on the horizon, and then obviously you need to operate a hotel, right? And need to be feasible in with your structure. How you feel about that?
That's obviously very interesting as a topic. For us, you know, at Amsa Hospitality, the first thing is that we are preparing the Saudi Arabia 2030 vision, and we kind of work backwards. we always start with the guest. So I would say that the first point is, as I mentioned before, it's the guest-centric. So any implementation of new technology should benefit at first to the guest. The second is maybe incremental adoption. We don't implement everything at once. We implement gradually, we test, we gather feedback, and we adapt if necessary. The third thing is, of course, cultural adaptation. You have to really consider and do things accordingly to the culture of the country and environment. Fourth thing could be ethical awareness. Like, I think the guest must be confident that AI is going to be used, not exploiting their experience, but enhancing it. And the last, but not the least, is sustainability. For us at Amsa Hospitality, this is a main driver, so it is in everything we do.
Are you worried that technology is at one point not enhancing the customer satisfaction, but at the same time is kind of coming in between? Is that a worry, or like? Of course.
I mean, there's one thing we shouldn't forget. Our industry is a warm industry. You should feel the warmth. And so it's all about balancing, and there's not one solution. There is many according to where you are, who you're dealing with, what's your target, and so.
And you obviously mentioned AI, and speaking about digital transformation these days, obviously artificial intelligence is huge. Wanted to ask you, Joe, AI, there's obviously a lot of happening on the architecture world, Midjourney and other applications. Are you seeing it as in a way complementing to your work? Is it disturbing? Is it bringing new players on the market you think are not useful? Like, what's your thought on that? Are you embracing the new technology in your work? How do you feel about that?
We need to be careful, because Midjourney can be used by anybody.
Right.
It's when such application will become more personalized to the architect or to the designer, where it can reflect their vision. That's where you can have the use of it. And nowadays, what we're seeing and we're feeling and we're hearing from clients, everybody comes to me with the beautiful images. And this is where the challenge, and then,
right.
But from digital twin perspective, it's really, that's what we're doing at the moment, because this will make your hospitality project or any at the urban level, it will make it more efficient, and it will give you a different direction. And this is where the technology use is going to be adding more value on the hospitality sector, because you will have a full control. At the moment there is a control, but you'll have more control on the destination as an end user, as a guest. And we all see fashion design now, how it's changing. And you see that there is textile that change color, that change, you can be in the same dress, but you don't have to buy many of them. So rooms, in my opinion, you will not have an interior designer to give you a design for a room only. The room itself, you can select the mood of the room and the change of the color. There will be no painting on the walls. You will put the painting that you want. So this is where, in my opinion, the room, even your house, we're talking in general, that's where everything will become personalized more. Because, again, why I'm saying psychology, because we had meetings with psychologists about this matter. And they keep telling you that the new generation, nothing is enough for them. So take your kids, they would like to change their room every 2 months, and then there is something. They're different era than us. So having this type of bedroom designed with a color and whatever, they will fed up of it. So they would like to change it. and they would like to visit the hotel one more time and have a different experience. So you cannot keep changing the interior design.
Right.
And this is where, in my opinion, there's going to be a change in material used whenever it goes to hotels. There's going to be change in the space, because the question is that when you go technology, you're going to talk about cost. And this is where nobody is talking about it at the moment. And that's why I believe that the technology is faster than us. Because we're designing, like I reached late because we were having a fight with a client about the budget on a hotel. So, but there is a reality, but the clients, they still look at it from a different perspective, and they will tell you it's just concrete and some furniture. But technology, it will need time, really time, to become affordable.
Yep.
Until the more experience will happen.
I love the personalization. I mean, that's exactly what's happened in the fashion industry, right?
Yes.
The virtual garment, where people can now express their personality in a completely different way, exploded and changed the industry, right?
Exactly.
I don't want to put you on the spot
No,
for
no,
fashion, but is
that's-
that something you're seeing a lot? Is that
Yes. It definitely aligns, yesterday I met so many people here who obviously were very confused about why a fashion film festival will be coming to a hospitality summit, but one thing that I've been saying that there's so many parallels between hospitality and fashion, there's so many similarities when you start talking about design more specifically. And again, looking at the various collaborations that, couture houses have been developing with hotels and so on over the years. I think it's definitely something that we should talk about a little bit more, so it doesn't sound so weird when you introduce yourself, I guess. But I guess to your point, I'm very interested in knowing about how do you see the collaborations between artists and hotels, moving forward, because you said that obviously the new generation is not interested in always having like a standardized room. Does it then push you more into curating experiences with artists and creatives, and how do you see that moving forward?
Everything will change. Why you reckon the NFT came for a while and then disappeared? You reckon it's going to disappear? It's going to come back. And everything we're seeing now is going to come back stronger. So in my opinion, that we really need to understand that anything that's coming to us, they send it to us to test it. And they test the reaction of us, how we're going to react to it. Then they will pull it back. Then they will put it again.
Yes.
So because in my opinion, because the technology is really fast, there is a worry about the psychological shock that people they will go through. And we are seeing it on us, and we're seeing it on our kids, and we're seeing it on our parents, that for me, we used to use the phone that rotate, am I right? And then now we talk to our watch. So imagine mentally on us, we've been through all of this. So how come the new generation, they never experienced to move their muscles? So this is where I believe that there's gonna be, everything will change.
Yeah.
Everything. There's gonna be more digital artists. Even the furniture, the flooring, the wall paint, everything is gonna be something that will be less maintenance and then easy like to reuse. And that's when you talk about sustainability. So it has to be beneficial for everything.
I wanted to go back to this point, sustainability, and Laurent, you said very early on culture and how important it is for Amsa hospitality and everything you develop, right? So with everything happening, how can we make sure that the cultural touch point, the heritage, really stands in the front still, right? And then obviously, particularly in the kingdom, in the Middle East, I think it's very critical, right? How you feel about that?
Well, again, at Amsa Hospitality, we have those three drivers: the sustainability, culture, and this warm element. So I think one major point is really community integration is I think one of the clue. You have to exchange. You have to partner with local artists, local chefs, involve them as much as possible in the development and the technology implementation to be sure that we're not getting lost.
It's a very good point on you said community building, right? How we build communities that really activate spaces, that where we can protect the social, cultural fabric. Speaking about building communities, any recommendation from you, Sissi, how we can hopefully engage with the next generation, right? And make them part creating that experience, right? It's not us, to Joe's point, what we have in mind might be different what the next generation has in mind. How can we bring them in as we create in the next developments, the next destinations?
Yes.
Any thought on that?
Sure. So I had a very, very good conversation with Wen Yu, who's originally from Taiwan. And we were speaking about demographics and how marketeers go about segmenting, different parts of the population and consumers and so on. And he said, Sissi, I'm from Taiwan, but you and I have way more in common than me and my fellow countrymen. And I say, how's that? He said, well, you went to school in China, you're partly based in New York and this and that. And he said, it's the same with me. And we have all of these shared experiences together. And I think it's important to understand that everybody is a demographic of one, right? So when you understand that, it's not just based on your age, the way that you look, how tall you are, what kind of music you listen to, but there's also value in bringing people together that maybe look like they have nothing in common, and and then you're able to curate a completely different type of experiences that will enrich them, but also enrich you as a company and a hospitality professional.
I don't want to screw up with the program, but as this is the last panel before lunch, maybe there's a question from the audience. We want to make this as interactive as possible. I don't know if we have a microphone in the room, but if someone has a question, please throw it in. While you think about a question, looking 5 years from now, 10 years from now, Joe, what do you think? What would you think is a success for us in 5 years from now, like from a business perspective, but also from an experience perspective?
For me personally, I have, people that say I'm always negative, but I have a concern about all these projects that we're designing and building. By when they will become inefficient and not needed anymore. Because if you really need, and this is your question that you mentioned before, the new generation, maybe in the near future, you don't go to the hotel. The hotel might come to you. You might be like the same way you rent a scooter now. You just press it, with the Apple Pay, and then you take the scooter, so you don't need a car, you have a scooter. And this the concept of maybe caravans or flying cars or flying modules that might come in the future. So you will be collected from your house as a module will fly to your other destination. Again, I always repeat that movie that it's the Fifth Element, Bruce Willis. Because it's like 20 years ago, but this was the model. And you can see in the future the need of space is smaller than what we have at the moment. So 5 years, I believe, I don't know what's going to happen next year.
Yeah.
And I'll be very honest. But at the same time, how you will be able to make things more reusable, modular. And at the same time, you see that with this pandemic, our life shifted 360. And then the whole thing changed. And nobody wants a studio anymore. Everybody wants to move a one-bedroom and a bigger space and the villas. Now things are shifting in the other direction. So that's why flexibility in everything is going to be needed. And that's like fabric that can change color. And this is where we're going to be aiming. And the concern where it's going to come, the cost. At the moment, you have a cost consultant and designer and contractors. They tell you a cost per key for a 5-star hotel entry, it's $280,000 per key. Will this be valid in 5 years' time?
Yep. Yeah, no, and you had a great point on things coming back, right? Even NFT exploded, it will come back, right? We had a conversation on metaverse where a lot of people thought this is a pandemic thing, right?
Yeah.
No, digital twin, to your opening point, things where are here to stay, and we have to work with that and make really use out of it.
I think
yep.
Joe's making a
Go ahead.
very good point there, because one of the key points of our future also is, I think, adaptability and versatility. I think for us, again, at Amsa Hospitality, in addition to sustainability, we are really, really focused on the fact that everything should be adaptable, everything should be versatile, and we are actually creating a new Arabian hotel brand, and in it, it's even more than that. It goes further than that, because on some hotel spaces we will offer different ambiances at one time that are evolving according to the time of the day, because you're not in the same mood at 9 a.m. Whether at 9 p.m. So yeah.
Yeah.
I have a
I know you're
question.
doing already that shift with the new brand. Maybe you can explore a little bit on the new brand you're developing at Amsa Hospitality.
Sure, it's been now almost a year that we are developing this new Arabian brand. So it's, as I just said, very versatile, cost effective. It is something that really stands out. I cannot really share now details about it, but when we launch it at the end of the year, you will see that it's something that really stands out of the market, directly linked with sustainability and this warmth that I was talking about, because it's, at the end of the day, it's one of the major points of our industry is this, the warmth that, combining all those elements, I think we'll have something interesting to reveal.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is that okay? Okay. I'm very interested in knowing, so obviously we're talking about AI, we're talking about the future and innovation. It's all very valid, of course. And I would say that from a fashion perspective, we're also seeing a lot of nostalgia from Gen Z. So Gen Z is very interested right now about fashion from the 90s and from the early 2000s. We're seeing brands like Nokia relaunching, the 3310 phone, if some of you remember that, because there's this need to disconnect. There's an increasing interest for digital detox and so on. So how do we reconcile, the thirst for innovation with this, what I call the human verse, like really like the want and the need to feel connected to the now and not necessarily the future all the time. Maybe if I'm a Gen Z, and I'm not, maybe if I step into my hotel room, I may feel overwhelmed by too much technology, right? So how do you find that balance between a smart screen and me just wanting to be present? Sorry, that was long, but that was my that was my question.
To be honest, we will not know now what the Gen Z would react to technology. They might target it. They might go say, "I want everything," and this is where we're saying that it's more personalized. And again, I keep repeating that you can't understand how they might react once this generation, they're becoming adult and they're gonna be in our place, how their life is gonna be. Because we lived it and then we changed.
Right.
And the technology changed with us. The way we design buildings and also cities at the urban level, we changed it big times. It's not the same. And this is where I believe that the technology and artificial intelligence is gonna help us and help our destination to become more flexible and adjustable, easier than the way it is now. And I go back to the pandemic, where they wanted to turn hotels into hospitals quickly, and they found that it's a struggle, and everybody started doing research how we can do modular and then make things easily. But this is where we're learning, and it will come.
Got it.
I have a clock down here, which is already kind of coming to an end. But last chance for a question from the room. Yep, please.
To do a key, right?
I said to $80,000 per key,
Per key,
for
yeah.
an entry 5 stars. But we did in Seychelles, we reached the LXR by Hilton. We did it in Mango House in Seychelles. We reached $1.5 million. I'm saying that whenever it was just a number.
No, well, this is not my question. My question that what does this number include? Does it include the structure, the IT, the AI,
Everything.
or it's
At the moment, currently is all of it.
okay?
So if you have a 100 rooms hotel and you multiply by roughly to $80,000 per key, it will give you an average cost for the hotel without going into the nitty-gritty.
Sure, because well, we did the calculation for the IT only. It costs about $45,000 in every room.
Yeah, which is going up to be 15% or less than 20%.
So we're close. Okay.
I
Just
don't
want to
know.
make sure. Yeah.
I'm not a cost consultant, by the way.
Oh, I'm happy that we're taking practical advice here. That's definitely that's why we're here. We want to close out. I was thinking, as this is almost also we're finishing Future Hospitality Summit. Maybe as we're finishing, each of you, if you could just reflect on your 3 days here. What you taking in your practice, in your work from here into the next year? Maybe Joe, starting with you.
We've been attending this event for the last couple of years, and I'm happy to have fashion designers this time. So next year, you never know what's going to be here. So it will be nice moving forward to see these things more at the event, to really interact more, because we're doing a lot of R&D at the moment ourselves, but it will be really good to see the big operators, what they're doing, to really understand, because talking is something, and then having it physical, and then try to understand what we're talking about is something else.
Right. Laurent?
For us, we are working on, as I said before, we have three forefronts. The first one is opening a hotel in secondary cities. The second one is this launch of this academy to train young Saudis to hospitality jobs, and that's really something in Saudi. And this creation of new brand. One of, as I said, our main driver is sustainability, and that was a great summit because we've met great people that can help us to really be sustainable, including our big ideas. So yeah, great 3 days.
Sissi, first Future Hospitality Summit for you.
Yes.
What are you bringing into the fashion culture world?
So I was very happy to attend, so thank you so much again for joining this session. And I guess one of the things that got me very excited is just seeing, all these blurred lines between hospitality and industries like fashion. And what I look forward to seeing in the future is maybe seeing a little bit more entertainment, right? Like entertainment and the role that he plays, in hospitality experiences. And I think we can curate a lot of exciting content for FHS in the future.
Looking forward to this.
Thank you.
We have a lot of red blinking here, so I think lunch is served, what I understand. Thank you so much to the panel. We could go for another half an hour easy, but I think it was very insightful. Thank you so much.